guys, what's up? My name is Manny Rodriguez. I'm also known as Eroddrums on Instagram and on YouTube as well. I just want to make this somewhat short video on my experience with a vintage kit called Pro Export. I know most of you drummers know exactly what I'm talking about. It's basically the best-selling drum set of all time, and it's a quite different review because it's not an updated Pro Export, but rather it's a 2001/2004 Pro Export Select ELX. Now, my experience on this drum set was that I did not buy it in one piece. I actually bought pieces and put it together slowly. It started off by buying a 3-piece, which was 12x9, 22x18, and a 16x16 inch floor tom. And I was trying to look for a 10-inch tom of the same series, which was the ELX that came out in 2004, but I had a lot of trouble finding that particular tom in this finish, which is called Blue Mist, by the way. So what I did is I searched online and eBay, and I remember that before the ELX series, Pearl had the Export Select series, which came out a little bit right after the original Pearl Export with the high tension lugs. That's the first time that they changed their high tension lugs into the small mass lugs, and surprisingly it was in the same color. It didn't come with hardware, and the shell was a little bit beat up, but I fixed that by applying some wood glue and clamping it with a C-clamp, and that completely solved the issue. Then I put some hardware on it, buffed it out. I used a wax to, to shine it and buff it, and here's the kit. My experience with the kit is I'm really impressed with the kit, especially the fact that the kit is about 25 years old. Okay, that's a pretty long time. So I guess you would consider this vintage. The shells are made of poplar wood. The ELX is 100% poplar, but the Export Select, which came out before, I think it has around 2 plies of mahogany. The interior is poplar, but as you go into the outer plies, you see dark wood, which I'm assuming is either a very, a cheap mahogany or Luan wood. I'm not exactly sure, but nonetheless, it still sounds great. Recording wise, this drum set blew my mind away. I didn't think that poplar would be the best shell for recording, but playing this drum set kind of like, it made me rethink, does the type of wood you use really matter? I mean, I guess it depends, right? Birch is obviously still the king when it comes to recording because of the natural EQ it gives off to the mics, which is like a smiley face, a lot of highs, then there's a scoop in the mids, and then it gives you a little bit of lows. Poplar, I'm not sure exactly what's the EQ graphic on that, but my experience playing the kit in person before miking it up is that it could be the room that I'm in right now, but the toms were very explosive, very pronounced, open but focused. That's the best I can describe it. I know poplar is known for being mid-range, but to be honest, I heard a lot of highs and a lot of lows, especially in the floor tom. And again, very focused. I am impressed with the lugs. These lugs on the first tom are not the original lugs. They came off of a Vision series. The Export ELX has bridge lugs. So I outfitted this first tom with bridge lugs as well. And the quality of the hardware is absolutely amazing. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of the current Export series with their very small low mass lugs. I'm also not a fan of the current Export series because their 16-inch floor tom only has 6 lugs, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Of course, Pearl's trying to save some money by adding less hardware, but man, to be honest, I understand why this drum set is the best-selling drum set of all time. I've come to realize that, because although the wood is not the best, like most people would say, I think what matters is how high quality is that particular wood and hardware. Pearl's known to have excellent hardware. Everything is rigid and strong, thick. This kit is not going to collapse. It's literally meant to be taken out on the road day in and day out. And I see that. I noticed that now. I originally wasn't a Pearl fan when I was younger because I would say I was biased. I used to love the L arms a lot of companies would bring, but I think that these 7/8 inch tom arms, they give Pearl their particular identity, which I'm starting to appreciate more, you know. But everything is great. Surprisingly, the kit stays in tune, especially since the drums are 20 plus years old. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, that this drum set came out, man, when I was just like 9 years old, or like about 10 years old, 10, 11 years old. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but the finish is absolutely gorgeous. I wish Pearl can come out with finishes like this, but in their more affordable lines. I know that Pearl just recently came out with their professional series, and they have a color that's similar to this right now, but man, I wish Pearl can come back to their roots and go back to creating their thick shells, their 7.5 millimeter shells. Everything is surprisingly excellent. I'm very pleased. And if Pearl sees this video, I urge you, Pearl, like, you don't have to do it this year, but if you can do it in your 80th anniversary, if you can revamp the Pearl export to the way you guys used to make it, you know, doesn't matter if you guys stick with the Philippine mahogany and poplar shells, or if you guys go back to the 100% poplar shells, that's fine. I don't care. But if you guys can make a kind of a revamped version of the Pearl export, or limited edition, but paying homage to your older kits, that would be so awesome. I think it would sell very well. And yes, and Pearl, please go back to your transparent lacquer finishes. Like, the finishes on these drums are gorgeous, and surprisingly, this outer ply, it's not maple, it's white poplar. And you know, there's nothing wrong with poplar wood. It's actually a really good wood. Very popular back in the early 1920s, 30s, 40s, etc. in the jazz scene era. So again, I have to rethink what wood matters, because this absolutely changed my mind, especially in the recording scene. Again, these are the best-selling drum sets of all time. Not the best-selling high-end drum set, not the best-selling low-end drum set, the best-selling drum set of all time. Meaning that they've sold most of this kit than any other brand combined, okay? Which tells you a lot. That means that Pearl was delivering quality and excellent sound and great value for the money, which is awesome, especially for new drummers that are coming up and they want a very solid kit to perform live or in the studio. I outfitted the drums with a Pearl steel shell snare. I did a quick review before on that. You guys know how I feel about the snare. It's excellent. Steel overtones, 10 lug snare. There is an internal muffling ring. Sounds great. I love it. I feel like this whole kit goes together very well. Very pleased. So that's it for the video. You know, if you guys are interested in buying the Pearl export, if you can, try to find their vintage Pearl exports. There's a lot of them that don't go for much. You know, they usually range between like $250 to $400, but I would say that this particular finish is hard to find, especially as a whole kit. But I think it's well worth it. Pearl, again, thank you for making great drums for up and coming drummers, you know. And that's it. This is the 2025 review of the Pearl Export Select and Pearl Export ELX series.